taking off like a Boeing. If the volume spikes, then it's time to trade. Mighty 90 setting up, it's time to get paid. Dr. Chad on the mic, time to get focused. We don't need any indicator, hocus pocus. It's all about the price, just watch it move. Manage your risks so you don't lose. First hour of trading is all we need. Focus on the patience and forget about greed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's day trading live stream. Market opens in 3 minutes. Pretty muted action overnight. S&P down 3 points. NASDAQ down 37. Russell is up 2 and Dow up 31. So less than 0.25% up or down either way. Gold up slightly. Silver up 0.4%. Excuse me. Notes and bonds a little bit red. 10-year yield up 0.8%. Oil up 1%. Natural gas up 1.25%. All the grains a little bit red or green. Euro and the pound down a little bit. Bitcoin down 0.7%. VIX slightly expanded up 0.64, sitting at 17.26. Morning, good morning. Bosch, Adrian, Moel. How is everybody today? Feel good today. I'm feeling good. I usually feel good, but I feel extra good. As far as individual stocks go, I posted just a minute ago. GME had earnings, and it's up above its expected move. So I do have that on my board. On one of my monitors that you can't see. So if it warrants, really, I'll be looking at it at the pre-market high. Pre-market high. If it gets back above its pre-market high, and I can find an entry to manage risk around, I will potentially look at GME. On the weak side, some of the big boys down: Tesla, MSTR, Nvidia. Not much. Tesla is down. Tesla, that's down to almost 2%. Nvidia about the same. DJT also had earnings. It's down a couple percent. Oh, wait. No, it didn't. Earnings 4.2. Oh, did that move? I could have swore I said yesterday in Power Hour that DJT had earnings. Now it's showing 4.2 after the market. Okay. Anyway, DJT's down a couple percent. Google's down almost 1. SMCI down almost 1. So tech and semiconductors as a sector are in the red. So is crypto. And then energy, Chinese stocks are up a little bit. Metals and financials are slightly green. Well, Rick wouldn't qualify for me, Abash. I only take that after volatility has contracted overnight. VIX is actually up a little bit, so I'll be trading my 1 DTE this morning. SPX, daily expected move today, 28.2. NDX, NASDAQ expected move 111. Is that right? 111.4. It's pretty small. All right. And then as far as news goes today, we had durable goods pre-market. And then we've got Kashkari, a Fed member speaking in 30 minutes. And then another Fed speaker at a little after noon Central. But otherwise, nothing. Not a lot of. I didn't. Let's see if the Trump calendar gives us anything. Okay, so at 1 p.m. Eastern, so noon Central, there is a White House press briefing from Caroline. That will be live on camera. So I'm not too worried about that these days. Seems like those have kind of calmed down as far as moving anything, but something to be aware of. All right, so my 1 DTE just fired. So the White House press briefing is at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Just posted my 1 DTE. $90 wide, still $90 wide on the old 1 DTE. All right, we got the S&P and NASDAQ coming down. Most of the big boys coming down. Apple is bouncing, going green. Amazon, Meta, Microsoft all going red. Tesla, Nvidia moving lower. QQQ up here. I'm going to put Coinbase back up. GameStop is coming down a little bit. IONQ is up about 5%. MU, which was super weak yesterday, is up 2%. With the rest of the chips pretty much in the red. Yeah, S&P and NASDAQ trying to bounce back. Coinbase trying to go green. AMD is now getting stronger. So AMD and MU are the two strongest semiconductor chips. NVIDIA's down. ASML down. AVGO is down. S&P basically unchanged. Trying to go green. Apple acting strong back above yesterday's high. I don't like Apple lately. I don't like trading Apple lately. Using using, just kind of specifically, looking at relative strength, which I've been talking about a lot. It'll look strong and then it'll just either flatline or roll over, regardless of what the market's doing. PLTR pushed up into positive territory. GME not doing much. So GME closed at 25.40, had about a 3-point expected move. So gapped up above that, but it's coming down now. So right about to its expected move here. So let's see if it holds. Which is also the pre-market lows. Baidu's pushing higher. Baba's pushing. Bitcoin's down about 0.5%. Yeah, coin's got a volume bar. It's the only one I see. And it's not making a very strong move with that volume yet. Trading the 2 DTE options today. In coin, I'd be looking at the 205 calls. Oh, it's starting to push above its pre-market high a little bit. All right, so 205 calls in coin. If I can get a little pullback. Not sure it's going to give it to me now. That was a quick little pop. Yeah, I don't like trading volume runners in Baidu. It's like I don't trust the volume. It can be very spiky, but yes, nice push too. So I'm sure it's legit. Coin kind of popped. It's coming back down a little bit now, coming back down to its pre-market high level. I'm looking at the 205 calls. I'm going to go ahead and get in coin. 205 calls. Filled at 474. See if it can hold above its pre-market high. I'm going to use, if I get a close below yesterday's close, so if it goes back in the red, if I get a 5-minute close in red, I will exit. I'm not going to wait to the bottom of that bar. Hopefully. GME is bouncing off of that expected move area. How are the options in GME? Haven't traded it. Well, 5 cents wide. Not bad. All right. So Baidu gave you that pullback. Potential entry here. Can dip right back to near the, well, it's not pre-market lows, but yesterday post-market highs. S&P is green. NASDAQ is still red. AMD made a push above yesterday's high, but didn't hold. Chips are not strong today. MU's still just kind of chopping. Apple staying above yesterday's high. Don't like the action in coin. NASDAQ coming down hard. S&P back in the red, back to unchanged. See if coin can hold here. Got a little over a minute left on this bar. Baidu's holding up. Apple back above pre-market highs. Coin still holding. Lives another day. Lives another bar. Let's bounce out of GME. GME can get above 29, which is the high of day. I might use that as my line in the sand if it's back above there. Robinhood at lows. Coin still chopping around unchanged. Nvidia through lows. NASDAQ is heading towards its lows. S&P just down to mid-range of its day so far. Coin dipping into the red. Indices coming down. Got my order to close coin. It ticked below that bar that gave us the big volume. See if it can hold up here. TSM giving a little potential mighty 90 coming in. NASDAQ through lows. Amazon through lows. Apple's pulling back. AMD gave it all back. And yeah, chips are weak. Coin's actually holding up fairly well. That big drop in the NASDAQ. What's Bitcoin doing? And Bitcoin tried to go green. It's pulling back. All right, I'm gonna have to bail on coin here if it doesn't bounce quickly. About 20 seconds left on this bar. It doesn't bounce quickly. I'm gonna cut. All right, I'm out of coin. Filled at 357. Did not hold with this market flush. Big volume bar and SMCI to the downside. And Robinhood. See if SMCI can give me a little bounce. I might take a downside runner. Downside volume runner. And get a decent entry. S&P ticked through its lows of day. Bouncing a little bit. My 1DTE, holy moly. Yeah, my 1DTE is already at 15%. Wow. Yeah, about $2. Yeah, Landon fixed the juice news and then I broke it again. So he's refixing it. I apologize. Coin through lows. SMCI bounced a little bit. I wanted to see a little bit more of a bounce to get in, but it's already flushing back lower. Same with Robinhood. Yeah, that's interesting. Seeing so much decay in that 1 DTE already with this movement. PLTR coming down hard. Wow, SMCI, another big volume bar. GME is still bouncing. Came right down to that expected move line and bounced. Definitely going to keep my eye on that for long. We got Meta coming down through yesterday's lows with a little mighty 90 action. NASDAQ just ticked through yesterday's lows. Apple still holding above yesterday's high. Yeah, so as far as news tomorrow, we've got GDP and unemployment claims pre-market. Yeah, that's interesting. How those 1 DTE options are getting crushed. You get a little bounce, that thing will be at 20%. Robinhood, two big volume bars. SMCI, two big volume bars. Meta had a little volume pop. I mean, it's only as big as the second volume bar, though, so it wasn't compared to the last two is definitely higher. But let's see if this market's going to keep flushing. See if we get a real mighty 90 out of somebody. Or if Apple continues to hold, I will take a long in Apple. It's right at its pre-market high. Keeps bouncing off of yesterday's high. Apple, I would be trading the 225 calls. Tesla flushing through lows. Wow. Robinhood is down 4% now. SMCI down 5.5%. NASDAQ down to its expected move. GameStop rolled over now a little bit. Apple is holding. I'm going to take a long in Apple here. Got my order ready on the 225 calls. If I see any sign of indice bottom. No signs yet. I'd like to see this bar close above the pre-market highs in Apple. So Tesla's getting a little mighty 90 action. All right, so SPX, NDX starting to bounce a little bit. Apple's not really. See, that's what I'm talking about. Like usually a relatively strong stock like Apple's acting, you get a little bounce like this, and Apple would have really kind of pushed. It's just not. It's just acting odd. All right, so Tesla's got a mighty 90. Tesla, 280 calls. Getting in. Kind of ran away from me, but filled at 651. 280 calls in Tesla. Filled at 651. Wow. Another big volume bar in Hood. Also volume bar in PLTR. Got my first profit target at 720. Tesla can bounce a little bit more. Come on, Tesla, hit it. Hit it. I'm going to lower my profit target to 7. Ah. I was trying to get filled right at the bottom of that first 5 and 10 minute bar. Just pushed right up there. I was too late to reduce my order though. There we go. Filled at 7 to close half my Tesla. Wow. MSTR. Beautiful mighty 90 bounce. Just looking at that one. So one thing that I get questions on sometimes, let me put it on here. Let me put hood on here. So we've had this continued flush with continued volume bars and then this huge, massive spike. I look at that as exhaustion. So in other words, on this bounce, I would not be getting short hood here. If that makes sense. Once I see, multiple big volume bars and then a flush, I look at that as exhaustion. Like I don't look at that as a potential continuation lower. It's almost like that's all the sellers got flushed out. Now it's buy time. Now anything could happen, right? I mean, it could obviously continue lower, but that's the way I look at something like that. Never really gave an entry because it never really bounced after the first volume bar, and then it just kept flushing with higher volume, and then huge flush with capitulation there. Tesla, no continuation in that bounce. Yeah, exactly. Same with SMCI. Indices both bounced and coming back down. Coin holding above yesterday's low. I don't like the way Tesla's acting. The indices are bouncing more. Tesla's staying weak. I'll give Tesla a minute, but I'll probably cut the rest. I will cut the rest if it breaks below that previous bar. It's got to bounce here. All right, I'm out of Tesla. Filled at 603. So it's basically a scratch. Made $3. MSTR was the one. Wow. All right, GME starting to perk back up. I want to see a 5-minute close over that 29 level, over highs of day, basically. Robinhood, nice bounce. So S&P holding above yesterday's low. NASDAQ trying to hold its expected move area. I took a mighty 90 in Tesla. I got out at half of it on that bounce, and then I cut the rest when it came back down. So it was a scratch. So the question now is, do I want to look for a downside runner for another potential leg down, or are we done? I could really see us looking at a daily of the S&P. I mean, I could really see us, bouncing off of yesterday's lows and continuing higher, or I could also see us going down to retest the top of that last week's range. NASDAQ, S&P pushing through lows. That looks like a good cut in Tesla. VIX up to 17.67. Kind of like a downside runner on BABA. Big volume spike, bouncing back up to yesterday's lows. It's kind of rolled over on the daily chart. I'm going to take a downside runner in BABA. 132 puts. Filled at $1.89. Tesla's still coming down. Using previous day low as my line in the sand here on BABA. Take my first profits at low of day. So I'll put my profit target at 205. AVGO's coming down. Nvidia is down over 4%. Chips are just weak today. Microsoft trying to hold. All right, GME is popping up to its highs of day here. Keeping an eye on it. GME, I'd be trading the 29 calls. I'm going to go ahead and jump in GME. 29 calls. Filled at $1.09 and $1.08. It's got some momentum pushing through highs of day. I don't want to wait for a pullback because I think it might just take off here. Forward over here. Let's take away NVIDIA for now. So this green line I marked, that was kind of the expected move after earnings. It came down and tested that and bounced pretty definitively. GME, I need a rip. Baba, need a dip. And I need a refreshing cup of coffee. So we got the S&P bouncing back above yesterday's lows. We get another short squeeze in GME today. Back like the old days. Good old fashioned dumb money short squeeze. Meta heading towards lows. Come on, Baba. Flush it. Flush it down the toilet. Tesla through lows. GME giving a little pullback back to the high of day, previous high of day. The Dow is still green. The Dow's up 0.5%. It's holding the Dow up. Disney or Boeing. Financials are strong. JP Morgan's up over 1%. Bank of America. Banks. Big banks are strong. Costco's green. Tech and chips are bloody. Yeah, so energy, financials, healthcare, green, everything else red. Biotech's a little bit green. Come on, Baba. Flush it. Flush de lows. Give me some Tesla action. Like the action in GME. Could have got a better entry, but I was a little aggressive on my entry. But I'll even potentially add if it comes down a little bit more. Baba hit 205 to close half. Yeah, definitely had a little mighty 90 action to it, but I just don't think GME is going to be denied higher today. I mean, it had a big push, markets flushing. I wasn't paying attention to volume, to be fair, when I entered. And I certainly could have waited for this pullback to get a much better fill, but Tesla getting bloody, down 5%. Amazon back to lows. Coin back to lows. Yeah, I'm part of the GME cult today, Watson. I'm not paying attention to volume. Bleed, Baba, bleed. Put another profit target to shed another quarter of Baba at 230. Nasdaq's weak. Weak. VIX trying to get back to 18. How's our 1 DTE doing? Not so hot, I assume. It's only down 4%. This thing can never bottom. Baba hit 230. Got five Babas left. I want to see a little life at a GME. I want to add to it, but it's kind of down a little bit now. All right, I'm going to add to GME. That was the same 29 calls, filled at 93 cents. Tesla trying to bounce a little bit. Another big volume bar and hood. I mean, you've got some mighty 90s kind of all over the place here. You've also got some big volume bars. Baba's trying to bounce. GameStop stock pop. That's what we're looking for here today, kids. GameStop stock pop. All right, Bob, are you done? I don't want to give too much back on a bounce here, but see what Bob is going to do here. I'm not going to take any of my GameStop off until pre-market highs, so that call it 29.80, 29.92. Just going to be well over 10%, obviously. So this is, and I kind of talked about this in that updated lesson I did a couple months ago, where instead of just taking off at a percentage, I'm really trying to find places on the chart to take profits. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking some off at 10% and then also, taking some off there. But just with this price action, I've got a pretty decent conviction here that we're going to go retest that pre-market high. Yeah, I think you missed have been on mute. I was talking about that. Right after I took Tesla, I saw MSTR. I saw it after it bounced, but yeah, that was a beautiful. Are you talking about the Mighty 90 at 8:55 Central? You're talking about this one right here, 8:55 Central. Oh. All right, so Baba, I'm almost back to break even on my last. I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of my Baba. I don't want to give any more back. All right, filled at $1.93. So let's see, I made 397 on Baba. Gave some back on that bounce. Yeah, I like that too, Ken. Book some profits, remove some risk. Well, let's see. All right, so yeah, ES flushed its yesterday's lows. ES and SPX now. So, question is, do we have more downside or is that it? The magic question. GME pulling back now. Tesla bouncing, Meta bouncing. Apple back in the green. SMH is now the weakest sector, down 2.2. Bitcoin's down 1.6. XLK down 1.25. What did you see on the daily chart that made you buy puts, Watson? Both were super strong yesterday. Come on, GME. Looking for a GameStop stock pop. I don't have all day, GME. You starting to bounce. AMD is just continuing to stay weak. Nvidia, a tiny bounce, but pretty weak. Okay, I got you. So you're looking at using VWAP as your level to manage risk around. GME, little dip and bounce, little dip and bounce. Let's see if we can push through here. Tesla, little bounce off the lows. GME, let's see if GME can push through highs. Explode up to 30. That's some decent size on GME here. See how the old 1DTE is doing. Back up 7%. This little bounce. Another 10-point bounce, and the 1DTE will be centered. Tesla's still bouncing. GME could not push through highs. Apple back in the red. Netflix, nice bounce off the bottom. Fed Kashkari, in the next year or two, we ought to be able to reduce interest rates further. What do I make of it? I make of it someone just flapping their lips. Means nothing to me. All right, all. I'm gonna wrap this up. Like I said, I'm looking for a push to pre-market highs before I shed any GameStop. It's just kind of chopping for now. So let's see. It's 9:40. I'm just gonna kind of watch it. I was gonna put a little bit of a time limit on it. We are in the 2-day options. The 29 calls are a little bit in the money, so decay is not terrible. So yeah, I'm just gonna watch it. And if it breaks back down below that 920 central bar, where it kind of pulled back and bounced, if it breaks below that, I'm going to look at potentially cutting. I'll look at cutting, and then I still may re-enter if it pops back up, but that would be kind of my line in the sand that I'm looking at right now to cut, which is at about the 28.63 level. All right, so that is my plan. Everybody have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you all in Power Hour. Cheers.